Welcome to Derry. Episode 1 has officially arrived, and from the very first scene, it's clear this isn't just another horror series. It's a dark, twisted, spine-chilling journey back to Stephen King's most terrifying town. From the demonic baby in the car to the mysterious special projects at the Air Force Base, Episode 1 doesn't waste a second setting up a sinister atmosphere that makes your skin crawl. But beyond the blood, fear, and suspense, this episode plants several disturbing mysteries that hint at something far more horrifying than we've ever seen in it. So in this video, we're breaking down everything that happened in Welcome to Derry Episode 1. From the terrifying opening sequence and the fate of Matty, Teddy, and Phil, to the eerie Ya Got Trouble song, Leroy's attack, and what's truly wrong with the people of Derry. And finally, we'll end with what all of this means for the origin of Pennywise himself. The terrifying opening Pennywise's Rebirth. The episode begins with one of the most disturbing opening scenes in recent horror television. We meet Matty, a young boy desperate to escape the cursed town of Derry. His every step feels heavy, haunted, as if the town itself refuses to let him go. Eventually, he gets a ride from a seemingly normal family of 4, and for a brief moment, things appear calm, until they don't. The family begins to act strange. Their smiles stretch too wide. Their eyes look empty. And then, out of nowhere, the woman in the front seat gives birth to a demonic baby right before Matty's eyes. It's one of the most shocking sequences in modern horror TV, and a clear symbol of evil being reborn. Fans of Stephen King's will immediately recognize the undertones here. That baby isn't just a random creature. It's very likely a new incarnation of Pennywise. The baby's birth marks the reawakening of the monster that has plagued Derry for generations. A being that feeds on fear, takes the shape of nightmares, and thrives on chaos. The scene ends with Matty being attacked, his fate uncertain. But as the episode unfolds, his disappearance becomes the emotional and supernatural trigger for everything that follows. The baby's grotesque birth could symbolize the infection spreading again through Derry, the start of another cycle of terror that will soon consume the town's children. Are Teddy, Phil, and Matty really dead? As the story progresses, we shift focus to Matty's friends, Teddy, Phil, and Lily, who refuse to sit back while their friend remains missing. Their bond feels genuine, filled with fear but also hope, and it's through their eyes that we begin to see just how cursed Derry really is. Their search for Matty leads them to a series of horrifying discoveries, including a monster that seems to lurk in the shadows, taunting them every step of the way. The creature finally attacks, and what follows is pure nightmare fuel. The lights flicker, screams echo, and the screen is soaked in panic and dread. Lily barely escapes, but the others aren't so lucky. Teddy, Phil, and Phil's younger sister are presumed dead after the creature strikes. It's a brutal moment, but also an important one. Lily's survival tells us something key. Derry doesn't just kill, it chooses. The evil force seems to decide who lives and who dies based on fear and emotional vulnerability. And even though the children's bodies are never found, Lily's escape with Phil's sister's dismembered hand confirms that the entity feeds on terror before consuming its victims entirely. The fact that their bodies vanished hints at something even darker, the possibility that the creature is using their remains for something more sinister, perhaps even as vessels for spreading its presence throughout Derry. Matty's death in the opening scene connects directly to this. It's as if he became the bait, a puppet used to lure the others into the monster's grasp. The cycle of fear, manipulation, and death continues. The same cycle we've seen in it for decades. The opening scene's true meaning, the opening scene of Welcome to Derry, isn't just a shock tactic. It's loaded with symbolism and lore. The demonic baby represents rebirth, a literal reawakening of Pennywise's evil. The family's eerie calmness before the chaos reflects how Derry's residents have always acted under the influence of the creature, numb, indifferent, and complicit. Pennywise has always been tied to Derry itself, almost as if the town's soul is bound to the monster. So when the baby consumes Matty, it's like the evil entity is reclaiming what's his. In it, Chapter 2, we learned that Pennywise has existed for centuries, awakening every 27 years to feed. The events of Welcome to Derry appear to depict the beginning of one of those cycles, the moment when evil reawakens and begins corrupting the town once again. This birth scene might also hint at Pennywise taking on a new form, not the dancing clown we know yet, but something embryonic, a creature still growing into its next manifestation. The horror of the rebirth scene sets the tone for the entire show, that no one, not even a child trying to escape, can outrun the darkness of Derry. Leroy's mystery and the Air Force connection. In a surprising subplot, we meet Leroy, a skilled Air Force pilot who moves to Derry to test a new B-52 aircraft. At first, his story seems unrelated to the supernatural horrors unfolding in town, but soon it becomes clear that something deeper is happening. When Leroy arrives at the Air Force base, he notices a restricted zone known as Special Projects. From the very start, the base feels off, shrouded in secrecy and tension. Leroy experiences casual racism from a junior officer, a moment that feels grounded in real-world horror. But the true threat arrives later that night when masked men break into his quarters. They demand the specs for the B-52, threatening his life if he doesn't comply. What's truly interesting here is why this subplot exists in a show about Pennywise. The masked attackers might not just be racist officers. They could be part of a deeper conspiracy tied to Derry's curse. Special projects might refer to military experiments involving fear, energy, or psychic phenomena, all themes that align with Stephen King's universe. The idea of science trying to study or harness Derry's evil could explain how Pennywise's influence spreads beyond the town itself. Leroy's refusal to betray his integrity and his survival of the attack suggests that he'll play a key role in uncovering the human side of Derry's corruption. The people who know the evil exists but choose to exploit it for power. The song, "Ya Got Trouble," a hidden warning. One of the eeriest details in episode 1 is the repeated use of the song "Ya Got Trouble" from the 1962 film The Music Man. At first, it seems innocent, just a song playing while Matty watches a movie. But soon, the song starts appearing again and again, echoing through pipes and radios, almost like a ghostly warning. In The Music Man, the song's lyrics describe a man warning a small town that moral decay is creeping into their community, a perfect metaphor for what's happening in Derry. Beneath its perfect, picturesque image, Derry is rotting from within. Evil isn't just lurking underground. It's seeping into every home, every mind, every song. By the time the children hear "Ya Got Trouble" playing at the theater, the meaning becomes horrifyingly clear. The song isn't a coincidence. It's a signal, a haunting reminder that trouble isn't coming to Derry. It's already here. The moment Matty appears on the theater screen solidifies this. He's no longer a boy. He's a vessel of fear, a ghostly projection of Pennywise's rebirth. The music acts as the soundtrack of corruption, signaling the infection spreading through the town. What's wrong with the people of Derry? As the supernatural chaos builds, the episode also introduces us to Charlotte, Leroy's wife, who quickly realizes something's very wrong with Derry's residents. In one disturbing scene, she witnesses a group of children brutally attacking another kid in broad daylight. But what's even more chilling, the adults around them do absolutely nothing. They keep walking, pretending not to see. This is one of the most powerful and disturbing metaphors in Stephen King's It universe. The apathy of adults in Derry is a recurring theme. They're blind to evil, numb to suffering, and often complicit through their silence. It's as if Pennywise's presence infects not just the town's sewers, but its morality. Ending explained, the cycle begins again. By the time episode 1 ends, we're left with more questions than answers. And that's exactly what makes it so effective. The deaths of Teddy, Phil, and Matty, the mystery of Leroy's attackers, and the haunting echoes of "Ya Got Trouble" all point to one conclusion. Derry's cycle of evil is starting again. The demonic baby's birth in the opening scene wasn't random. It marked the moment Pennywise re-entered the world. Every strange event that follows, from the missing children to the town's indifference, is a ripple effect of that rebirth. Evil doesn't just appear in Derry, it grows, festers, and evolves with time. By connecting supernatural horror with real-world corruption, racism, apathy, and manipulation, Welcome to Derry makes its horror feel terrifyingly real. Leroy's storyline may soon reveal how institutions like the military are unknowingly tied to the same evil that lurks in Derry's shadows. Charlotte's growing awareness might position her as the adult who dares to fight back when everyone else turns away. The episode ends on a chilling note. Silence. No resolution, no comfort, just a sense that something ancient has awakened. Matty, Teddy, and Phil might be gone, but their fear lingers, feeding the town's darkness. And as the faint echo of "Ya Got Trouble" fades out one last time, we're reminded of what Stephen King's story has always warned. In Derry, evil doesn't die. It just waits to be reborn.